Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. My name's Petley-Hare, and I'm the chair of the Durham Economic Prosperity Conference and also the president of Petley-Hare Insurance. When I look around this room, I can't help but be proud of who we are, who we represent, and where we have come from. I've had the extreme good fortune of having lived and worked in the Durham region for 65 years. Not quite as long as Des Newman, but a little longer than Bob Malcolmson. My childhood in the early 50s was spent in Oshawa. When driving into Oshawa along Highway 2 coming from the west, Highway 401 wasn't even out here then. There was a three-line sign coming into Oshawa. It said, Oshawa, population 25,000. There were 3 movie theaters, 2 high schools, 1 medical clinic called the Oshawa Clinic, which is still there and much larger today, which was supported by 1 very small Oshawa General Hospital where I was born. There were only 6 public schools, and at my school, Harmony Public, there was only 1 chubby kid, and that really was a medical condition. There were lots of churches, however, and everybody went to one. On Saturday nights, the Jubilee Pavilion had a dance with a live orchestra, and it was a big deal for our parents. And back in the early 50s, there was 1 major employer, General Motors. Everyone in town, in some way or another, was dependent on General Motors. And I remember, as a youngster, that there was a strike for an extended period, and Oshawa was shut down totally. There was no Christmas that year. There was no Saturday night dances. There was no trips to the movies. And as I look around this room now and realize how far we've come in such a relatively short period of time, in 1952, there was no highway infrastructure, no thoughts of nuclear power generation, no vision that included colleges and universities right here in our own town, no inclination that healthcare would be a major employer throughout the region. And all of these achievements have come as a result of people exactly like yourselves, people with a vision and a purpose, coming together to examine where we have been and where we are going, and willing to sacrifice the time and energy to make a difference right here in Durham region. And that brings me to the purpose of this morning. This conference includes CEOs, from many of the most influential companies in the region, government leaders, university and college presidents, forward-thinking entrepreneurs, labor leaders, and non-profit executives who all share a common goal, moving Durham's economy forward. The conference is a partnership between the region of Durham, the University of Ontario Institute of Technology, and the Greater Oshawa Chamber of Commerce, and is being funded by delegate fees and sponsorship assistance. Ladies and gentlemen, we owe a big thank you to our Prosperity Conference sponsors, and I'd like to take a moment and recognize and thank them. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Region of Durham Economic Development, University of Ontario Institute of Technology, Greater Oshawa Chamber of Commerce, the Organization of Can-Do Industries, Durham College, John Williams, CA, the Ajax Convention Centre, Enbridge Gas, Northland Power, Port Oshawa, Farmtech Energy Corporation, ALCI Aviation Limited, Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nations, Stage Vision, Via Rail Canada, and Ontario Power Generation. To our sponsors, thank you. Without your support, we couldn't put this event on. I would now like to introduce some of our dignitaries that are here with us this morning. I would ask that they stand and remain standing, that you withhold your applause until all have been introduced. First of all, we've got Honourable Gary Goodyear, Minister of State for Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario and for Science and Technology. Dr. Colin Carey, MP, Oshawa, Parliamentary Assistant Minister of Health. I'm not sure if she's here yet, but I will introduce her, Dr. Christine Kazicki, Assistant Deputy Minister, Ring of Fire Secretariat, Ministry of Northern Development and Mines, and we'll be hearing from her a little later on this morning. Jeffrey Izzo, Chief of the Political and Economic Section at the U.S. Consulate in Toronto. Jianwei Yu, Consul, Commercial Consulate, General of the People's Republic of China in Toronto. Jinming Ku, Vice Consul, Commercial, Consulate General of the People's Republic of China in Toronto. Li Wang, Vice Consul, Commercial, Consulate General of the People's Republic of China in Toronto. Tracy McCharles, MPP Pickering Scarborough East. I'm not sure if she has arrived yet. John O'Toole, he might have got caught up in traffic also, MPP Durham. Roger Anderson, Chair, Regional Municipality of Durham. Steve Parrish, Mayor, Town of Ajax. Pat Perkins, Mayor, Town of Whitby. John Henry, Mayor, City of Oshawa. Chuck Mercier, Mayor, Township of Skewgog. Bobby Drew, Skewgog Councillor Ward 2. And Della Charles, Councillor Mississaugas of Skewgog Island First Nation. How do you receive your guests? I would also like to note that on Tuesday of this week, Darlington Nuclear was the recipient of the Award of Excellence at the annual Institute of Nuclear Power Operations Conference in Atlanta, Georgia. The award recognizes a number of strengths identified in the recent peer review, including management and leadership, operator knowledge and skills, equipment performance and condition, and our response to Fukushima. Congratulations, OPG. I'm not sure if it's up and running yet, but my script indicates that I should be mentioning the fact that we're recording the words as we speak this morning. Is that working, Bob? Yeah. Good. This is a partnership we have with the Canadian Hearing Society, CART, and Conference Coordination Ontario Interpreting Services. CART is a professional word-for-word transcription of speech to text in real time that enables hard of hearing and deafened people full access to the spoken word. The CART service ensures compliance with the Accessibility for Ontario's Act. The conference is being transmitted by Skype to an off-site location and back to appear on the screen. At the end of the conference, we'll have a complete transcript. Later on this morning, there will be interactive sessions with our panelists, and we'd ask that you step up and use the microphones when asking questions. And now, to get the conference underway, I would like to call on Roger Anderson, Regional Chair, Regional Municipality of Durham, for his opening remarks.